Hello, my name is Taj Galati, and welcome to Galati's Philosophy. Now, let's just jump into it. So, the internet and dating. It's a very complex and compelling topic to look into, but the general consensus is the internet has fundamentally changed the way dating happens for practically anyone under the age of 30. Now, before I get into this, I must first delve onto some of the more minute issues, such as what is the internet? Now, of course, I'm not going to actually answer the question, what is the internet? But the important thing about the internet that you should actualize in your mind for this conversation is that it has made the transformation and delivery of information fundamentally easier. And what I mean by this, it is much easier to share videos and images and words and talk with other people around the world. Now, normally this is a very good thing, but in dating, it turns out this isn't the best thing, because the best kind of information to share across the internet is visual information. Pictures, videos, snaps, anything like that. Now, this isn't necessarily bad, but because of this tendency with the internet, it has shifted dating culture. It has shifted dating to be so much more focused on the visual aspect of things. The visual aspect being bodies and faces and what you're wearing and risque poses and anything like that. Now, because of this, there's been a de-emphasis on things like finding out what you have in common with people, or finding out people's interests or philosophies they subscribe to, or anything like that. Now, this is harmful because that is stuff that's very basic to compatibility for humans. If you only go after people you're attracted to, you're going to end up being with a lot of attractive people that you don't really like. This is detrimental to dating, and it's a very hard thing to overcome, but one of the first steps to overcoming it is at least acknowledging it. We see the biggest case of this in Snapchat, in which it's purely visual, absolutely nothing else. The only thing you have to attract other people on Snapchat is your body and your face. Now, this is very harmful because, we can see it in many of our peers, and for some of you ourselves, in that it causes so much body dysmorphia. And what body dysmorphia is essentially body image issues. I'm too fat, I'm too thin, my boobs aren't big enough, my muscles aren't jacked enough. It's just not necessarily liking yourself and practically taking dangerous measures to make yourself quote unquote better by societal standards. Now, we see this in young teens, specifically young girls, very much in the form of self-harm or many different eating disorders such as anorexia. And we also see it in stuff like magazines. Now, before, it was just limited to magazines, as in magazines were like, look at these super hot chicks, but then you could just choose not to look at magazines. But with the internet being such a strong and widespread phenomenon, you practically can't choose to not look at the internet. It's the internet. So, with that problem, you have no choice but to subject yourself to this visual-only system, which just makes you prioritize that in dating. Now, this is obviously a problem, and I'm not setting out to find a solution, but to know about a problem is much better than to be ignorant to it. Now, I've had some success in my own life being able to overcome this, and I'll just share some of the things I did with you guys. First, I took a big break from Snapchat, I took a big break from Instagram, all social media, and that was a little extreme, but just cutting down on any social media can be really helpful, because it helped me form a lot more meaningful bonds. It helped me meet a lot of interesting people that wasn't just based on looks, they were just cool people. I didn't care how they looked, I cared how I got along with them, and because of that, I've been able to become much happier. I've been so happy with all my friends that I'm making now. It's truly wonderful. And then, other than that, just trying to talk to people in real life more, calling people, hanging out with people. Now, that seems like a very obvious and fundamental answer, but it's obvious for a reason. The de-emphasis of visual information cannot happen through the internet. It needs to happen through the user. You need to make it a goal to de-emphasize visual information, because if you don't, you're doing nothing but harming yourself. You're simplifying your brain and only making it so that you care about visual aspects of people. When was the last time you saw someone? You're like, they are super attractive, or I like the way they look. And then you went up to them and you immediately hit it off, and you're like the best of friends in the world. Is that the case, or are your best friends more so people who maybe you're in the same class with, or they got introduced to you somehow, and you began talking and bonding, and turns out you think very similar, and those are your best friends? You don't have any great friends purely based on visuals. There's a big emotional and philosophical and textural, that wasn't a word, and linguistic aspect of connections. And with this huge overemphasis on visual aspects of people, dating culture, since it's widely done through the internet nowadays, has been disrupted and displaced. Yeah. It's a pressing issue, and people need to find their own ways to deal with it. I gave you some of mine, but ultimately what works for me might not work for you. You know, I'm a pretty weird guy, and I like to take pride of that. But, you know, you might be a different kind of weird, or a little bit more normal. It doesn't matter. Be you. I don't care. But yeah, anyways, I'm rambling now. But, I just want to get that out there. I just want to speak my truth. I wanted to say what was on my mind. Because that's really the point of this series that I'm starting now, is just to show people, just to bring things to light, and just to, you know, have a place for my mental vomit. Alright, this is Taj Galati. This has been Galati's Philosophy, and I'm signing off. Have a wonderful day, and remember to love yourself.